Hi there. My name is Kevin Awakuni, and I'm a librarian here in the Department of Exploration and Creativity.
And my name is Diana Levo-Posner, and I am the Principal Librarian and Associate Director of the Exploration and Creativity Department with the Los Angeles Public Library. And we're here to welcome you today to LA Made, the Dodgers Landscape Team program.
Before we begin, we'd like to thank the National Endowment for the Humanities, our Library Foundation, and our behind-the-scenes staff for helping bring the LA Made programs to you virtually. LA Made focuses on the diverse landscape of Los Angeles, highlighting the immense artistic performance talent that has developed in the course of the city's eclectic history. If you'd like to see more of our amazing programs, please visit our online calendar at lapl.org/events. And for our LA Made programs, visit lapl.org/LAMade. Our website also has blog posts and video links that highlight the library's diverse resources and upcoming programs.
We would also like to take this opportunity to recognize and acknowledge the first people of this land, honor their elders, past and present, as well as their descendants who are citizens of these nations. For more information on which territory you may reside on, check out native-land.ca. And now on to today's program, the Dodgers Landscape Team. We're excited to learn how Chaz Perea, landscape manager for Dodger Stadium, and his amazing team of landscapers managed to transform Dodger Stadium into the country's first sports arena that is also an accredited botanical garden. Take a virtual tour with us today of the many beautiful gardens and surrounding the stadium, as well as visiting their landscape studio. And now let's welcome Chaz and his team to our LA Made virtual stage.
What's up? Not me. I'm small. Thank you. What's up, Chaz? Hi, everybody.
Morning.
So I think we're going to start off with the short video that we pre-recorded, and then afterwards we're going to come back, and we have a ton of listener questions. So yeah, everyone is really excited for this. Anything you want to say to the audience before we start the video?
We'll just, the guys introduce themselves before we start. ¿Quieren empezar con ustedes? Si vamos a ver.
Okay. Hola, mi nombre es José Sandoval y trabajo aquí por 10 años.
Mi nombre es Octavio Suárez, tengo aquí trabajando por 10 años.
I'm Freddy Cortez. I've been here about 23 years.
Soy Petronilo Serna. He trabajado por más de 40 años aquí.
Hi, mi nombre es José Pérez y tengo aquí 15 años.
Okay, I'm Chaz, and we're together with the landscape team. And so you guys should know is during this video, I think, mira, Tavo was out sick. Pero lo que deben saber, what you guys should know is es código. That's a code we use for when Tavo has concerts. Okay, so yo soy y no era disponible. But este es el equipo.
All right. Yeah. So we'll show the video, and then we'll come back in about 20 minutes. So we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Okay, bienvenidos Dodger Stadium. You're here with the landscape team with Pete Serna, Freddy Cortez, Jose Sandoval, luego, hang on, wait for it. Jose Perez. Ándale, ahora somos todos, okay. Nos falta Tavo, huh? Tavo's out, aquí está Lofo ayudando por mientras. But you're at top deck, and you're looking at the downtown view. You're looking at this planter behind you. Was a water fountain. Pete, ¿te acuerdas qué año fue que se?
Around the 78.
Around 78, this got put in. This was originally a water fountain, so you're seeing two really shallow layers of a concrete planter stacked on top of each other. And dead center, probably one of the more magnificent things you're going to see at the stadium is an agave bloom. And these are agave americanas, so that's the binomial. Agave is the genus, americana is the specific epithet. Agaves wait one time to flower, and when they do it spectacularly, which is what you can see here. So these are 20+ foot flower stalks. The ones on the far left and the right have already branched out and flowered and gone to seed. And then these, the 1, 2, 3, are still flowering, so they're barely blooming out right now. This is going to be about a 4 to 5 month process, top to bottom. Seeds are going to come off the end of those flower blooms, and then we collect those seeds, and we're going to try to germinate some, give some out, see what happens to them. Some agaves actually bloom mini agaves on the stem, so that'll be a bulbil, B-U-L-B-I-L. And so it'll flower, fruit, and turn into a mini agave on the stem. You can just, and that agave would fall off in the wild and then germinate into the soil. Very interesting. But we planted these agaves cuando eran de qué? These were 15, like knee height here. So you're looking at a decade worth of growth, and it's like que triste verlos, no? Que ya se van a morir. Sad to see them go, but it's beautiful at the same time. Windmill fan palm in the center, a lot of euphorbia fire sticks, white lantana, some of the stuff. This plant material is in here because it worked with really shallow soil and very little water. And so this was a lot of process of elimination to get something to work in here. So agaves get massive. So the common name is agave, right? But an agave can describe any plant. And we have about 30 different species of agave on the stadium. Other names that are interchangeable with agave, common name maguey, common name century plant, go a lot of directions. But this is an agave americana. That would be the genus in the specific epithet, which equals the species name. If you scroll this way, we have another cool couple plants here featured. This one has been really good to us. Out of a lot of the natives that we've planted, this Salvia Pozo Azul, the Pozo Blue, has been really good. So this is a hybridized version of the Cleveland sage, Salvia clevelandii. So these were here with 1 gallons. They were like this big. They were 1 stick, 6 to 8 inches, and they've branched out. And we've been blooming since late March came the first. And we've been coming all through April and into May right now. We were actually a little worried these things won't be blooming by the time you come around, but they're still blooming really strong. This is a really fun yucca. This is Jewel. It's a variegated version of the yucca. Beautiful, easy contrast with the color combination. Very little water, no fertilizer. After that, as you work your way up towards the team store, you see the agave americana variegated in the center, fire sticks, a blue Mediterranean fan palm. And then as you walk along the access ramps to the left and the right, you run into about 80 to 100 different species of plants hanging out here on top deck. Okay, so this elevated ramp that you're on was all once the level of the parking area that you parked on, about 6 feet below. And then it's going to go up another 2, 3, 4, 5 feet when you hit the top. It's a large elevation change. And a lot of the soil this is planted in was the native soil of the stadium. So a lot of limestone, very high pH, very high calcium, and the base cation saturation ratio, which throws your magnesium, potassium out of balance. In short, it makes it really difficult for plants to live in that type of soil. So not only the type of the soil, but the grade that it's on. And you're seeing, oh boy, about 20 species here just in this section. But right below me is the Mexican feathergrass. And this is beautiful, really popular grass. And this is one of our natives, the Dulea brittonii. This is a really fun California native. This is the monkey flower here. A little sticky to the touch, but this really prefers growing in rocky slopes. If you're out in Griffith Park, working your way up Azusa, where the 605 terminates up into Azusa, you'll find a lot of these beauties. Beautiful variegated yucca. Está fuerte este, I like this one. And Celia californica, lots of the California sunflower bush. But just a nice variety of species up here. Things that take little to no maintenance, and we have very little water pressure up here and spend not a lot of time maintaining this. We've been really fortunate. A lot of this plant material has worked out for us. Some of the more successful plant material that's worked out for us in top deck has been our sages. So sages is the common name for the Salvia genus, Salvia. And we have around, I think we have in top deck about 14 different species within the Salvia genus now. And they're doing really good for us. You want to move a little further up? This is a sow thistle, S-O-W thistle. Technically, I believe this was classified as a cool season weed many years ago, but sow thistle is easily one of the more successful weeds in Southern California. It even has the same genotype. The phenotype may express itself in many different forms. So genotype is a genetic base that it has. The phenotype is the way it expresses itself. This plant is capable of expressing itself in a million different ways. Different colors, different margins on the leaves, different distance, internodal distance, different colorations. Anyways, it's really successful. It does well here in top deck, any part of the stadium. Sow thistle while we're here. Couple beauties you see here, the Dudleyas. Hanging out here, they're flowering, beautiful white flowers. This is Salvia Waverly has been really good to us. We grabbed these Salvia Waverlys in plugs, and they provided us a tremendous amount of winter color. These ones are actually budding up and blooming later than all the rest of them because it's in the shady spot here. And this, another native, California, the Santa Barbara daisy, hanging out there with the pink and the white blooms. That ground cover is outstanding. Been really good to us. Good shady corner for us. All right. This is a Bucarnia recurvata variegated from a really close friend of mine. The common name, ponytail palm, elephant foot. But this Bucarnia is a variegated. You'll see it's got the pink and yellow margins all over it. Mira, este estaba en la shop hace cuántos años? Unos 10 años y no hizo nada. This thing, we had this in the shop, we were babying this thing for 10 years. waiting for it to give any vegetative production. It only had one head on it. And we were just watching this thing. And it did nothing. I thought we were going to kill it. And then we planted it out here. And it's been about, ya hace 2 años, 3 que. Yeah, and we're getting multiple heads now, and we're flowering, and we're going to be quite careful to figure out how to reproduce this thing, but it's a stunner. This is a penstemon margarita back of porch. Shout out to California Botanic Garden. Bunch of beautiful aeoniums at the stadium. Beautiful aloe trees at the Huntington Garden. That section in particular at the Huntington Library, pasando la entrada, luego la cascada de agua, y luego los succulents. That is an incredible section of plant life. That's got to be one of the more special sections of plant life in the world. This is not the species that's sitting up. That's an aloe barbaria, the tree aloe that they have. This is an aloe Hercules, and this will eventually turn into a tree aloe, and they do have some of these. But this has been like, what, 5 years in the making for us? We got about big in a 15-gallon. This has been really good to us. On the bottom there is the Euphorbia gopher plant, and that's the Euphorbia rigida Mediterranean, and then the Euphorbia blackbird, which is a hybridized version of that. It's doing pretty well for us. This is the penstemon margarita back of porch that we saw earlier that's not flowering, that was just in a vegetative state. This is banging, this is full bloom. And once you see more penstemons, you get to know the family in general. The native species is Penstemon spectabilis, okay? Now, California Botanic Garden has some outstanding species of Penstemon spectabilis, showy penstemon. It really likes native conditions, which means that it likes rainfall when it rains, and it doesn't like it. And then it likes overhead irrigation. So the areas where it's doing best is completely left alone in the back part of the California Botanic Garden. Anybody at the California Botanic Garden has different observations to me, I'll respect to you, but that's just my observation from walking your garden a lot because I love that place. This is a hybridized version of the penstemon and is much more suited to garden conditions, which means it can tolerate water in the warm season much better, does not grow as big and unruly, and has blooms, more blooms, but not as beautiful. So you kind of bang for your buck what you get on it. But another beautiful species behind it is our quadricolor agave. So we have a lot of cool species of small agaves that do well, just take no work. But again, here you're looking at another area of the stadium that's getting water a cuántas veces a la semana?
3 times.
3 veces a cuántos minutos? So 3 times, 12 minutes a pop. This is what this is getting. So you're getting 36 minutes of irrigation here at Top Deck, and it's supporting well over 100 species. No fertilizer, no synthetic inputs, period. And you know, we're pretty happy with the way it's turned out. Okay, almost sat on that pachypodium. That would not have been good. Casi sentí encima de esa madre. One of our perennial problems at the stadium, we've left this here for a while as a good example, but this is, you spend 5 to 6 years working on an agave, putting your time into it and growing it, usually just admiring, not a lot of work in growing an agave, just a lot of admiring the agave. And then one night a gopher comes in. I think that, you know, he's probably trying to do a little tequila harvest, something like that. Anyways, but this is one night right through the center, and that's it. 5 years worth of waiting. That's a wrap. Burrows right up to the center, and it's donezo. And that's gophers. And the reason why we have a lot of sage, a lot of salvia here. So this is more salvia pozo azul, and this is salvia point sal. But sages and the euphorbias, gophers don't like that so much. So we try to have a lot of sage and euphorbia mixed out throughout the garden. We have a tremendous amount of gopher, and we don't use any baits for it. So we're trying to keep it natural. This is a fun Echeveria species. There's just too many good succulents. It's like the law of the succulents. When you're shopping for succulents, you find a new one, you kind of got to get one. If you got space for it, you got to get another one. And this Ruffles is a really fun one here. This is quite the collector's plant. You might find this in the back of a lot of people's gardens in potted plants. They might get one pachypodium, kind of like people like plumarias, people like pachypodiums. This right here, this is our Rhamnus californica. Esta la pusimos desde cuando, eh? This is one of the first ones we put up here. So we went for the shrubs. We did like Toyons, Rhamnus, a couple others, some Rus. Anyways, this California coffee berry has been pretty good to us. More sage, more salvia waverly. This beauty here, this red beauty, Euphorbia catinifolia. And it's in the Euphorbia family, but it drops its leaves in the winter, and then it gets bright red during this time of year, and it fills out, and it'll stay like that until we get our first really hard cold, and then it'll drop its leaves. But it's hard not to like something that contrasts that well in the landscape and needs no care. We haven't pruned that. No hemos podado ni una vez, huh? We haven't pruned it once. We haven't come to give it water once. Nothing. And we transplanted those. I think we bought these plants in 5s or 15s. We grew them in planters around the stadium. When they got too big for the planters, we brought them in here, dumped them in the ground. Boom. There we go. The agaves that we saw earlier are flowering, right? So that's a product of sexual reproduction. And then you're going to get seeds and then babies on the stem. if we're lucky, if we keep track of all of them, we might see a new species come out. What's coming out from this here is coming out from the roots, right? So these are pups, or these are going to be clones. We can get exact same thing out of this. We know exactly what this is. And when this gets too big, we'll come to the base, we'll prune it, we'll thin them out a little bit, and then we'll get a shovel, pull it out, and then go replant it somewhere else and just keep spreading agaves around the stadium. But this Cercis occidentalis does, when you catch this in the spring, if you guys ever see a medium-sized shrub to small-sized tree, multi-branched, springtime, it's yay high or a little taller, and it's full of bright red magenta flowers, kind of glowing in the sunlight in the morning, that's this guy. So it goes flower first, and then it leaves out. And it's quite the feature in the landscape. Ours are just getting established. You can see the rhamnus, the white sage, the octopus agave, and this guy are taking their time over here, but we're happy to let them take their time to do it. In the back, we have more toyons and more grape, California grape. And then the California, or the Ramnia. Fíjate que ese no murió. So amongst the California natives, the Ramnia is supposed to be one of the tougher ones. Fíjate, en clase nos dijeron que esta clase es más fuerte, ¿eh? Y nosotros lo matamos más que todo. So this Maralija poppy is kind of has a reputation for being one of the more productive California native species in the garden. This guy, we planted these in 1 gallons. We thought we lost them, but they're coming back. Some of these we put in 2019 and 2020, and they're finally coming back. We don't know why, but it's all over the stadium. It's in several different soil types, but we're glad they're coming back because once they take hold, they take hold. But this guy's popular because, first of all, it was up for running for our state flower. I believe the California poppy, the Scholzia, beat it out for the California state flower. This guy's a close runner-up. But this has the largest flower for a poppy in the poppy genus, in the Papaveraceae family. And they call it the fried egg flower. Giant white flower with the yellow center for the pistil and the stigma. Anyways, it's a beauty. Not yet, but one day. Here, okay? All right, how's that for top deck? You want a little more or you want somewhere else?
I think we're good. Where do we want to go next?
¿Cómo ves? ¿Al shop?
Sure.
Let's see the shop. We'll pack it up, head to the shop. All right. Guardians of the Ravine, baby. This is where the day starts. This is it. Walk through the Guardians of the Ravine door. What shop is complete without like a mural of the people that work there, right? Done by a local artist. Shout out to Palo Montano. That's us up there. And behind us is the picture wall of us visiting gardens around SoCal, and then me visiting other gardens around the world. And check this out. The guys are clearing way for the most important piece of paper in the shop. Ready? This is our Botanic Garden accreditation notification there. We're really proud. That took us a long time to earn together. I didn't really think that was going to work, but it did. So this is the rest of the shop. So kind of break space here. Tools are stored this way. A lot of pipe fittings, battery operated equipment. You can work your way down to the left-hand side. You see all of our hand tools, including some of our line trimmers. These are some of our funnest parts of the landscape here. If you're looking closely, you might catch these around the stadium. If you're not, you're going to miss them altogether. Okay. That brings us out this way. All this artwork up on the wall is from Para los Niños on 7th Street. Shout out to Norma out there. This is some of the projects they did in their classrooms. Below the paintings, you see a lot of our plant labels that still need to go up and get onto the plant material. It's a very long, ongoing process. Okay, this is kind of a workspace here. We got a few new species of agaves that are coming at the stadium. This is an agave bracteosa. This is a new species. This will be one of about 30 species of agaves at the stadium. This is a smaller to medium size, 1 by 2, something like that. Esta es la primera vez lo vi que fue en francés en el Jardín Exotique de Monaco. And it's growing into the cliffs and the hillsides. Todos los agaves que tenemos casi todos son nativos a Mexico. They're almost all native to Mexico. This one's from higher elevations. Beautiful, beautiful species. This is the guingola agave. I call this the fat boy agave. This is agave impresa. This is another cool agave, small 2 by 2. Agave tita nota. Small chalky gray agave, dark leaves. Oh, this is the winner. Okay. Shout out to Oscar at Fremontia. Este bebé que tenemos es el más raro de todos los agaves que hay en el estadio. So this is the rarest agave that we have at the stadium. We got about 10 of them. This is the albo agave. Albo A-L-B-O, albo white, pilosa hairs, pilosa, agave albo pilosa. And this is a small one. Este apenas lo hallaron en México en el 2007, por allá. 2007 de las montañas. ¿Was it la Sierra Madre o fue Nuevo León? Pero lo hallaron en las montañas. High altitudes, 5,000 to 7,000 feet up. There's not a lot of these, but when this gets bigger, those little tufts of white hairs get prominent on it. Okay, there's not a lot of species out there. Relatively new compared to most agaves on the market. So I'm going to have you point your camera up a little bit this way, and you see a giant yellow flower stalk poking up above the cactus. Okay, that's an octopus agave. Those flowers, they're going to fruit, they're going to turn to mini agaves on the stem. But this is what's going on all year. There's a little bit of this going on all year round. I don't think there's a time, casi no hay tiempo cuando no hay planta nueva llegando, eh? We have a couple new species at a time, couple new species. Keep growing the collection, increasing the biodiversity. And, you know, it's like the more beautiful plants you have, the more likely is someone else is to see one they wouldn't have seen before and might get them interested in plant material. And that's what we're shooting for here long term. Water conservation, species biodiversity, and getting people interested in more drought tolerant material. Now that we're done here, let's go check out the martini planters. Hey, so we're out here in field level, and behind us is one of many martini planters. You're seeing two martini planters. The one directly behind us is 6 foot in diameter. The one to my left, your right, is 10 foot in diameter. These were original parts of the stadium poured in during the build-in in the late 50s, and we've restored many of these by hand. They've crumbled off from the sides, have drainage issues, and not me, them, have restored this stuff by hand and made them beautiful again. Total, around the stadium, 149 martini planters, 149 martinis. It adds up really, really quick. These are some of our favorite. If not, estos me gusta más que todos. No sé, estos están bonitos. So the Huntington Library, some of our friends at the Huntington Library, shout out to Karen and Alicia, chose a set of succulents from their plants, from their nursery, that we could plant here, kind of represent the Huntington Library. They have the greatest succulent collection in the world. If you haven't been, it's well worth your time. And that's what's sitting in here is about 40 different species of succulents from the Huntington Library. But these are the martini planters all around the stadium, and it's been tough to get those right. So it's also shallow planting with poor drainage. The guys have rectified that by adding new drainage systems in, modifying the drip irrigation, modifying the irrigation system to bring drip in through the back and replant effectively, but not too much. Anyways, and then giving them, they have to be able to fill out. So you're putting a small plant in, but it's going to expand out to 4 inches to 8 inches. So you got to space it out right. If they get too overcrowded, they'll quickly bog down on you. So they'll too much leaf to leaf contact that's wet, you'll end up with fungi, bacteria. Succulents rot out pretty quick in those conditions. So there was a lot of hit and miss, but we finally got them right, and we're really happy about that. Okay, so thanks for spending some time to see some of the landscape. You're seeing a really small portion of the landscape, but we're happy to share that portion with you. So this is Jose Perez, Pete Cerna, Jose Sandoval, Freddie Cortez. Through their hands, all the work has come and everything's been accomplished. I'm the manager, but I'm really grateful to have them as a team. I don't think we could do this without us all really putting in the partes iguales, no? Really, really serious effort from everybody, and hope to see you all for some Q&A.
All right. Oh, you guys are on mute.
Hey,
Chaz, you're on mute.
Keith is super talented. God bless that dude. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, shout out to Keith, our PR specialist, who filmed and edited and added a lot of those fun facts. So it was, yeah, I think he had a really good time, and we really appreciated all the hard work he put into that. So we have some questions, and then we have listener questions. So I think we're going to just go ahead and get started. How's that sound?
Let's do it, Kevin.
All right. This was one that me and Diane came up with, but where did the inspiration to change the Dodger landscape come from, and what prompted you to undergo such a big challenge?
The inspiration. Pues, I had a lot. Well, there's a lot of factors, but the other beautiful gardens in Southern California had a lot to do with it. I mean, I've seen a lot of gardens throughout the world, and it's still really obvious to me that Southern California is like the richest center for botanic gardens. And the other inspiration, I think there was like a few key moments, but I think one key moment was I was driving around the Palace of Versailles, and I saw the team working, their maintenance folks working, and no knock to them, but I saw them working, and I thought, first of all, I was driving in a golf cart, so something about it felt like I was here at the stadium. And then then I saw their guys working, and I saw them work, and I thought the first thing I thought, I was like, I watched them for like 5 minutes, and I was like, these guys got nothing on my guys. It's just not even close. Like, there's no way I can't do this, man. Anyways, and so that's where it started, and then it was a really long road there. ¿Y ustedes cómo ves qué piensan de dónde más llegó? Because I had these ideas initially, but then we all had to share them. So ustedes cómo llegaron?
Todas las ideas tuyas, tú eres el que manejas el barco, nosotros nomás te seguimos.
Driving the ship, but they're following. But we had to share the dream, but as a whole, we all had to have the same vision. So I think the hardest part for me was like, I have a vision, right? Pero eso le vale. That doesn't matter if we don't all share it together, right? So I think us going to the gardens together, like we had to go to the gardens together. We had to go to all of them and take the time to enjoy them. And then again, we have to all share it. It can't just be mine. They have to embody it just as much as me. And so us spending time together, going to see all the beautiful things in LA and around LA had a lot to do with that. The new ideas, de otros jardines, ¿verdad? So from other gardens, we got new ideas.
Así es como tú empezaste yendo a otros jardines agarrando nuevas ideas también.
Sí.
Lo bueno que nos platicas y nos dejas expresar nuestras ideas y por eso hacemos un buen equipo, que nos das chance.
Yeah, so a big part is if we go somewhere and they see something they like, okay, they get new ideas, new helicopters, new ideas, and then Tavo's saying that we get the chance to express those ideas, we get the chance to act them out, and that's a big part, because again, it's just me telling someone what to do. That's not leading, that's not management, that's not a garden, that's not, by all means, it's not beautiful. It's certainly not being a team, you know. Okay.
I'm loving this helicopter. It's
Yeah,
great timing.
It's LA. All right.
Thank you.
They're parking right above us. They know you guys are here. They heard Kevin and Diane were on the computer, and they were like, hey.
Yeah, right. All right. Should we post one of the?
Yeah, let's post one of the questions
Okay.
from
Yeah.
our fans.
Okay. ¿Por qué sacaron los cactus de la entrada de Dodger Stadium y los maceteros by the door? So, hablan
de los que estaban aquí en la entrada principal.
Oh, the euphorbia, los amarillos. Okay.
Los amarillos. Lo que pasa es que nosotros los plantamos en los maceteros pequeños y los dejamos crecer por tanto tiempo y ya muy grandes los ponemos en el landscaping. Y también porque son peligrosos, ya se estaban cayendo los brazos y es peligroso para la gente.
Yeah, so exactamente. So we started small, we buy them in small pots, and then we put them into those big concrete planters and let them grow up in there. And in those planters, antes había, ¿cuántos años habías puesto flores ahí? Mucho tiempo, 40. For years, he was planting petunias and stuff in there in those pots, and you have to manually water those pots. So that was one of our first transitions, was putting drop tall plant material in big pots. Anyways, we started small, they sit there for a couple of years, and when they get big, it's time to pull them out of that pot. But key to pulling the plants out of pots is not letting the roots get too compressed up against the base of the pot, so they can all come out in one piece. So when they got big, Jose was explaining, they also have a little risk of falling over. So we pulled them out and transplanted them. Those are actually other portions of the property. We replanted them.
Su vida, como quien dice, a su hábitat, pues, sí, ya de pequeños a grandes, ya su vida.
Sí, it's the process of them growing up. They grew up in those pots. That's the sí. Okay.
Están bien, están bien cuidados.
I mean, they're well taken care of.
En buenas manos quedaron.
Come to the store and you'll see them.
Yeah, sí, venga, store. There we go. Good idea. Okay.
Okay, go.
All right. Next question. Sorry. Since establishing such a large garden, have you seen an increase in bees and butterflies? From Rebecca.
Si has visto más abejas y mariposas desde empezar Jardín Botánico, haciendo Jardín Botánico?
Sí, han regresado muchas que ya se habían ido, muchos colibríes, diferentes aves, también ardillas, locos, más coyotes.
Esos squirrels.
Muchos pajaritos también vienen a comerse los insectos.
Yeah.
insectos.
So and you guys are describing like a full cycle process. So what we have more birds, we have more and so the birds are there for the insects, right? And then we have more insects in the ground, and birds are coming from that as well. And then we have more coyote families in the mix, more ground squirrels, right? So yeah, we've seen an increase in wildlife as well. That's actually like
Like biodiversity. Biodiversity.
Biodiversity. That's fun to see. Is like, so you hear them a lot. So you hear a lot more birds, and you see like here. The problem is they're eating a lot of our plants too, right? You know, it's like if you're gonna have a garden, you're not gonna use any baits. It's like, fine, we're gonna have to share. You know, so we'll make it work. Great question.
All right. Do you want to post one, Diane?
All right. One of ours or one of the audience? What do you want?
You can ask one of ours.
Okay. What are some of your favorite success stories outside of becoming an accredited botanical garden that you can share with the audience?
¿Cuáles eran unas cosas buenas que hemos hecho aparte de ser jardín botánico? De un grupo que hemos hecho.
Muchos cambios, como en el shop, más herramientas, más
Orden.
Ordenamos todo.
más,
Ordenamos nuestro chat, pues. Ya te estaba patas para arriba.
Department.
Yeah, that's definitely one of our big successes, being really organized. Mejorando shop, it's like making the shop better was a big part of our daily lives. Una cosa que no dan cuenta la gente, something a lot of people don't realize is los equipos de mantenimiento, the maintenance teams, we spend a lot of time together. We spend more time together than we do with our families, by far. Yeah, it's in a small space every day. You were in there, so for me it was like what Pete's describing exactly. That was really important to me is improving the shop, the way it looks as a whole, and the organization, and trying to make it a better looking place as well. So that's been a big one for us. ¿Algo más?
Y también desde que llegó Chaz aquí al estadio, empezó a organizar todo porque teníamos todo amontonado aquí y lo empezó a hacer individual para nosotros. Porque antes venían los de electricistas, plomeros, a dejar todas sus cosas aquí. Y nos lo fue limpiando para que fuera espacio solo de nosotros.
Make it more of a home away from home type of place.
Yeah, so we had a bit of a shared space, so a lot of people are accessing the space for different things, and I slowly changed that, removed that, so that I use it to full capacity. Because here's something I realized is like, mira, look, Yovi, what I saw was like, you guys can do a million different things. I was like, look, these guys can do all sorts of things that I can't do. These guys could build a house. Like if I left these guys alone with some big rocks, they make a pyramid, and I wouldn't be able to figure it out. You know, like, and I would just be lost. Like, what the hell happened here? You know, and it's like, but if they don't have the space to do it, if they're not organized enough, I can't administrate the materials. It was like it's a waste of time. So, you know, that was years. That took me like good 7-8 years to get that lined up. And then, like what you're describing was a big help to us. That's a big success story for us.
Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, it was like you guys became like the dumping ground, and you were able to disperse what you need, and they have to put their stuff somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Right.
Well summarized.
Here's a question from another patron. At some point, will you be hiring California certified naturalists and certified interpretive guides that assist with your tours? That's from Brenda.
Okay, so California Certified Naturalist. So I believe that certification is from UC UC Ag and Natural Resources. Es un clase de 40 horas. It's a 40-hour training class they do para hablar sobre the environment and everything else. But for tours, de veras, en este momento, at this time, we have a lot of goals we need to hit as a landscape department, and then our tour. And so landscape is working with the tour people on this. So both tours and landscape have a lot of goals to hit before we look at that certification in particular, because that's a great accredited certification to have. But we definitely have our facility is tailored to sending, giving a certain message across the tour in terms of water conservation and providing a different experience. And I need to make sure we maximize that experience first, what the stadium is and how it exists, before we add that on. But long term, right? It's a good idea.
I think you're getting a huge benefit with Chaz giving the tour. That's my honest opinion.
Oh, Bill, yeah. Apparently, I talk. Thank you. Great question.
Yeah, cool. And then this one has come up a couple of different times, and it has to do with drought and your water usage as well. That's come in a lot of different forms, I guess. So how do you prepare for the drought stages we are currently facing?
cómo se prepara para la sequía que nos enfrenta. ¿Qué crees de
Pues
Un nuevo sistema de riego.
Plantas
por eso
resistentes
estamos poniendo las plantas nativas,
a la
resisten
sequía.
más a la
Sí.
sequía.
So making changes to our irrigation system to drip, and they're saying add drought tolerant plant material.
Yeah.
And mira, en realidad tenemos mucho tiempo haciendo eso, right? So in terms of confronting the drought, we've been putting cactus and drought tolerant material in for over a decade. You know, so this is not a new thing for us. This is part of what we do. You know, ideally it's native plant material, but if it's not native, it comes from an arid region. So an arid region, you measure over 30 years what the ground sweats out versus what rains. Arid regions have a deficit of rain, so the ground sweats out more water than it rains. All right, so if you're from parts of Mexico that's a desert, from Arizona that's a desert, Middle East, Africa, donde sea que esté caliente, if you're from a hot area, we want you. We have, you know, our soil type fits that, in short. So we've been doing that. Mira, we hemos plantado tantas plantas que ya no sé cómo se llaman. We have so many plants I can't keep up with the names. We got cactus in. So that's how we've been doing it, right? Is the irrigation system and the drought tolerant plant material.
Right.
Yeah, and then one more follow-up that just came in, but how much of your work is irrigation?
Ay, caray. ¿Cuánto de su jale crees que es? ¿Qué parte de su jale crees que es riego? ¿Más que la mitad o menos que la mitad?
Yo creo que la mitad, menos.
Half or a little less than half, we think is irrigation.
Menos de mitad.
So,
yo pienso.
mira, look,
I mean, if you're considering fixing, replacing, everything else that goes with irrigation.
you know, it might be fair to say that there was a time where we just did a lot of irrigation for like 3 years in a row, though.
Yeah.
Like when I first came, we were just, I mean, there guys were cutting and threading pipe in tight spots over and over, adding valves, retrofitting valves, adding controllers in, adding in retrofitting a line. So, mira, han cambiado miles de pies de pipa. Like these guys have hand dug and trenched out thousands and thousands of linear feet of pipe, retrofitted the fittings, so first of all, it's like some of the, I think maybe a good way to sum it is our irrigation system was built in the late 50s and laid in, right? It's a 60-year-old irrigation system, and there's a transite pipe that runs around the stadium as the main line, and then there's miles of 60-year-old galvanized pipe that supports the rest of our irrigation. So it's a very old irrigation system, and beyond that, mira, también lo que es cabrón es que what's difficult is our pump is below the ground, and we have tremendous elevation change, and then we travel tremendous distance through lots of joints. So what you do is you lose volume and you lose pressure that way. And your valves tend to get dirty. So debris, cada vez que se quebra el main, anytime the main breaks, like debris comes through our line and it'll jack up another valve, and it's a rough cycle. So it's a really old irrigation system, and puede ser que sea tiempos cuando era mucho riego todo el tiempo, and now it's like half or less than half. ¿Tú crees un cuarto? That's not a bad estimate. Mira, el más importante, I think the most important thing for us for irrigation is cuando se enfría, pues ya no usamos agua.
No, ya no.
So like December, January, February, it's like we're not trying to water anything, you know. So that's a good time of the year for us to do a lot of other things.
Oh, gotcha.
Me acuerdo que un año, 6 meses duramos en regar.
Oh wow, yeah, we did 6 months one year, huh? That's right. We went,
Entramos Texas y yo también.
de veras, huh?
Este año.
Yeah, we really pushed the limits on like how little we can irrigate. It's my problem. It's my bad. Is going too light on the irrigation, and some things dying off because we're so stingy with the water.
Right.
Great question.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Diane.
I think we're jumping all over the place, Kevin, because, okay, what plans do you have in store for the future of the landscape of Dodger Stadium?
Para el futuro, ¿cómo ves ustedes? ¿Qué vean for the landscape?
Pues seguir plantando.
Seguir plantando las
Planta nativa.
Sí, porque
caletas.
la sequía sigue. California está en sequía y
So
igual,
keep
seguir
planting native, plant succulents. And he's saying the drought's not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
Texas, the drought's not going anywhere. It's like we need to keep this up. This is part of our job. It's like
Salvias, agaves,
sí, así.
Mismo proceso.
todo lo que
So a lot of the
que
same
no
process.
necesitan agua.
Y si va saliendo
No mucho.
unas válvulas más eficientes, pues se cambian y todo eso.
Yeah, so we're waiting for like the next year efficient new technology valve to come in where we can.
Naso.
Mira, nos dijo Hunter que en unos años serán Wi-Fi, las válvulas, battery operated controls, we'll be able to Wi-Fi our valves, so we won't have to retrench things. Anyways, we're waiting when they make battery operated controllers. that have Wi-Fi that can connect from multiple locations, like that'll be a big deal for us for managing our irrigation system.
Oh, there you
But
go.
until then, it's a lot of the same process these guys are all doing. So it's a lot of trenching, a lot of refitting, and retrofitting the systems.
Cool. Wow. All right, let's get another listener or viewer question in. Are there any locations around the stadium that conflict with the growth of certain plants?
Any areas around the stadium that conflict with the growth of certain plants? Areas donde, I'm not sure what that's trying to say, that conflict with the growth of plants. I don't know. We like plants everywhere at the stadium, no sé. ¿Cómo ves?
Las islas de acá, nomás son las que están diferentes.
Yeah.
Son solo.
Or I guess is the environment, are there different environments around the stadium that necessitate
Oh, Thank you,
choosing
Kevin. Thank you.
different
That's well
varieties? Sure, sure.
¿Tú crees que hay áreas que es más mejor para crecer un tipo que otro? Pues?
Sí, lo que te iba a decir, sí entendí la pregunta. Como aquí en el D no creo que crezca.
Es que toda la tierra es igual.
Yeah, pero lo que está notando Tavo, what Tavo was saying is that, look, these slopes at the stadium, the start stadium burn out and go about 400 something feet, but the first, 70, 80 feet are close to the building are heavily shaded. It's really shaded. Now here's the tricky part, is you get 70, 80 feet in shade. The next 70, 80 feet is all the same valve, but this gets 8 hours of shade and this gets 2. Okay, and then you run into some irrigation issue overlap there. But yeah, we do have some shady spots, and then we do have, and in general, like the soil around the stadium has similar conditions in terms of being a sandy loam and a slightly high pH, too very high pH. Yeah.
Un solo lugar para plantar esta planta.
Otra cosa, hay mucha como piedra.
Oh, God.
Aquí esta loma de aquí.
Slate, no, slate.
Limestone. Yeah, so Texas, yeah, so areas that
es mala.
we will dig. So we had some trees. Mira, I don't know those pear trees. We had these pear trees that weren't doing good for a long time, and then so we excavated, dug underneath, and it's like you have 18 inches of soil and then bedrock. All right, so when water's traveling in. So first of all, your roots have a limited growth space, but anytime you water heavy and you go from soil to bedrock, the water stays pulled up there. It builds up a hydraulic head, roots drown out in that situation. Texas noting that on this side over here and several other parts of the stadium, we have a lot more bedrock than other areas. So you might have an area that's perfectly good, and then where Jose is at, it's bedrock, and that makes it hard to plant and build things out long term.
How long did it take you to kind of figure out the environment and try and I guess maximize the, like, is it a constant ongoing process?
Mira, para conocer el estadio bien y las lomas y todos sus cosas, sus detalles, para mí, look, for me, it took unos 2 años. I mean, for me, it took about a couple years just to get familiar with the stadium. And even then, hasta eso, no conocía. Yeah, you're still learning it, right? So, Pete, do you feel like you know the property now after all this time? ¿Tú crees? Or you still find surprises? Pete does it pretty good. But it still surprises us, no?
I know all the property.
Pete knows. Pete knows the nooks and crannies. But a long time, years and years and years. And here's the problem: is like if a problem arises on the hillside behind us, y nunca había un problema antes, we're finding out for the first time what's underneath the ground many times. So a lot of times we're excavating something that hasn't been excavated before, and we find some things. And anyway, so we found that we were doing some repairs around the stadium, alrededor de esta road abajo los pinos, no?
Yeah.
And we found 2 new extensions to our main line that we didn't know existed. And they've been capped off from us. Mira, ni sabías tú. Pete didn't even know they were capped off, but we removed the asphalt and we sheared off and so it's asphalt main line right below it, and just sheared it off. And if you ever see a 6-inch pipe with 120 psi erupt, it's like Old Faithful. It's a problem. But it takes a long time and it still surprises us.
Cada vez que hacen una construcción tapan para acá.
Yeah.
Yo creo que nunca
las quitaron.
Yeah, so Pete's saying from all the development,
el terreno 100%.
Yeah, so Pete's saying from all the development over the years, it's like if you've done construction over here, they might have capped something off along the way, and then we might not be aware of that, or what this happened years before us, or we weren't there when it happened, and then we find connections interrupted long term from the inside of the building to the very exterior. That's another way. Yeah, we find lots of surprises that way too. Good question.
Yeah, cool.
Good question, Kev.
I try.
That's right, Kev.
Go ahead, Diane.
Do you all have to be recertified to maintain the botanical garden status? You guys have to take a test again? They're like, mm-mm.
I think we have to get certified after 5 years.
Recertified.
Recertified. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Correct.
recertified after 5 years, right?
Correct. Yeah.
5 years.
So yeah, exactly. Every 5 years, and then the idea is that we're constantly supplying the Botanic Garden Conservation International, the BGCI, with evidence that the criteria that we met, that we're improving on every single one of those, and they can see that throughout the process. So by the time accreditation comes up, the documentation we have to submit is kind of minimal. It's like, okay, this has all been documented. We've been watching it, and I'm constantly submitting something, and they know that's good. That we're good for it.
Would you say the first part of the accreditation was the hardest part, and then getting recertification is?
Well, we'll find out.
Dicen se cree que la primera vez fue más cabrón.
Sí, fue difícil.
Difícil, ¿eh?
Muchas veces pues, trató.
Muchos requisitos, pues.
Yeah, a lot of requirements, and he said, I tried a lot, and hey, I put a lot of time in that thing, man. I put a lot of time into that, and the Botanic Garden Conservation International is not messing around. They want to see a lot of documentation. I uploaded thousands of plants to this database over and over, back and forth, and then supplied pictures. And then it's like, well, this isn't clear enough. We'll explain how this fits into your property. And like, are you doing conservation efforts? But are they enough? And it's like, and then the Botanic Garden Conservation International is like, they got to make those decisions within the context of your facility and other gardens as a whole. So it's not an easy decision for them to make as a whole. Pero sabes que quien fue en bendición was Abby. Abby was a blessing. Oh my God, Abby! Yeah, so Abby's the executive director of the BGCI, and if I didn't have Abby's help throughout the process, no sé si lo había hecho. I don't know if I would have done it, because Abby's a star, man. And the BGCI is lucky to have her, and I was lucky to work with her and still work with her. Oh my God. Yes, well, I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones applying for accreditation. So they have a long list of people to get through. And it wasn't like, hey, here's my information, you're good to go. It's like, hey, I got 10 of the gardens to review, and like some of them might be even much larger than you. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a long process.
Wow.
But Abby, a woman for the win. Okay, Abby.
Abby's a winner all the way around, man. Abby is, yeah. Guiding star.
Siempre mujeres. Okay, just saying. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, this came in from another viewer. How can we as fans show support for Chaz and his crew? Let's keep this positivity and growth going. So, part question, part enthusiasm for you guys in general.
Way to go, Maya. ¿Cómo podemos mostrar apoyo para Chaz?
That website? I can't think of the website. Fan
feedback.
Fan feedback?
Yeah. So if you take, so one is what? Que sacan el tour, ¿no?
Well, vengan al tour.
Vengan al tour cada viernes.
And then
luego que escriban a la Dyers pizza.
It's so come to the tour. Then the email is Dodgers. No, it's fan feedback. FAN feedback. FEEDBACK. Fan feedback at LADodgers.com. So fan feedback at LADodgers.com. If you're taking the tour, or if you've seen some of the work and you like it, appreciate it, send the word out. It's like there's a little bit of old school. It's like we're not writing letters, we're writing emails, and those make their way up the ladder. If you don't like it, write something in. Tell us why. It's just the good stuff.
Y que nos sigan en Instagram. Chaz Perea.
Oh yeah. En la página. So look, the Instagram page that we started like what? Hace 2 meses ya, about 2 months. Is so that's the stadium's that's our landscape page. So if you want to learn a lot about plants, show some support, follow that along. That's a good way to help as well.
And that was through the Instagram, you said?
Instagram, yeah. PROFE, Profe, and then Perea, PEREA.
one more.
Steve will put that up first.
Yeah,
but
we'll
I
get
did
that
see
up.
the recent one when the squirrel was eating the sunflowers.
Oh,
And the corn, which I told you guys to put socks on the corn. I'm telling you. My abuela did it. Calcetines on the corn.
We
So
should get like
here's
Dodger socks and sock about for something. Some Dodger good ones.
Here's the Instagram where people can follow. Is that it, Chaz?
It is, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody wants to follow, give feedback. Chaz is always giving out great information.
Yeah.
And
All the guys. It's really good.
Right. And is this the is that the correct email?
Yeah, that looks like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys love the tour, if you guys have any feedback, that's how you can support them and show your appreciation. I mean, these guys did a great thing for Dodger Stadium, and it's a real accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. And they're continuing to do a great thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the questions which Maya also said, Kevin, was what do you think this accomplishment means to LA and specifically to the Latino community?
¿Qué crees que este cumplido significa a Los Ángeles y específicamente la comunidad latina?
Inspiración, yo pienso que se están inspirando en
Pues que
todo el
crean
día.
en la planta, pues en la,
Sí, también lo pueden hacer un día.
también lo pueden hacer.
Yeah, and so inspiration, being able to see the plant materials, an example,
Y si ahorran agua, sí. Sí
water
ahorran agua,
savings.
sí.
That's good. I mean, I think it's just good on us as a whole. ¿Qué más? What do you think? ¿Qué crees de eso? Pues,
Sí, que ahorran agua, que planten esas plantas que son buenas, sí.
so for us, for landscape, so look, lo que significa también es para los landscapers. I think for us, I think what also significant for like any other landscaper team out there who wants to push for a goal to do something that's
Changes for
Pues para todos los jardineros,
Yeah,
la mayoría de jardineros somos hispanos,
Compañías sí,
tienen
que se
que
inspiran en eso.
que apoyen a
Y que no se desesperen porque no crean que en un año va a estar bonito el jardín. ¿Sí me entiendes?
Son 4 años.
Es un proceso que
4.
lleva de 1 a 5 años.
Sí.
Right.
Después
It's a
de 5
process.
años,
It's not going to happen overnight.
tu jardín va a estar bonito.
yeah. So Pete's saying, look, it's for gardeners, landscapers in general. Like, hey, look, you can, if you really want to make a change and go for it, you can. And Jose's saying, look, it's going to be a long process. So don't get upset if it doesn't look good the first year. It takes like, so the natives, it's like 3 to 5 years until you really start getting some impact. But a lot of plants, you're going to start small, and like duran 5 años, 3 años, hasta que crezcan. But look, I'll tell you, that's the beauty in building the garden. That's the beauty of starting something small. Mira, para mí se siente más bonito que crecimos de pequeños. That we started them small because we saw the growth and we're with it, and it's
Ya plantas se nos morían también, ¿no?
oh God, we killed so many plants. We died so many plants in the way, and that's part of the process. De veras. And look, so if anybody, any of the landscape teams, gardeners, maintenance people are out there looking to take on like make a major change, it's like, man, you can do it if you stick with it. And it's worth it. It's worth it. And deja de digo, la gente conoce la diferencia entre algo que has hecho y algo que has comprado. So people know the difference in something you made and something you bought. It's like people know you can't fool people on that stuff, man. You can't buy something shiny and think you did something special. It's like people can tell the difference when you built something up and like it comes off to everybody. And again, the things that these guys are capable of building, like that was one of the reasons I really believe we keep doing this, because like the amount of work that these guys are capable of doing. I thought with these guys, like it's possible. Another team, I don't think so. But because of their capabilities, I thought we could.
Pero es porque también tenemos buen líder también, es por eso también.
See?
We have a good leader, that's why too.
Oh, well, thank you, Dom. I didn't problem to say that.
Maybe one more listener question, Diane.
Well, yeah, and I know Chaz wants to talk about books, right?
Oh, right.
It's a library. You guys have no idea, man. Yeah. ¿Qué más? What else? Okay, so do you want to do book question or something else? Tell me.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your love of books and the library, and maybe what you're reading right now?
Sure. So, interesting is, mira, cuando yo busqué clases para agriculture or horticulture science, yo fui a un library y te dejaron usar el computer gratis, ¿eh? And yo imprimí un horario from Mount San Antonio College with the classes for irrigation, integrated pest management. Like when I was at a public library when they let you use the free access to the computer and let you print up to 7 pages at the time. And that's how I first looked up también mi licencia para los pesticidas. So I looked up like applicator's license and classes about grass management. I didn't even know what the hell it was called, but I used the computer at the free public library to look it up because I used the 7 pages and I found the classes. And then I came back again to print out my packet, right? Because you can only use X number of pages in a day. And then whoever that nice librarian was that helped me out, God, I can't remember your name, but you're a wonderful human being who let me print out 21 pages on my packet just to get that application in. Like, like the free access to information, the free access to books, like, mira, si no fuera por eso, no sé si estaría en el mismo jale. Like, I don't know if I would have been working in landscape still, but it was because of the library. And I'm a big book reader. I would say my reading habits are probably like vigorous in scale. I don't watch TV. I don't do a lot of the things most people do. And I read pretty religiously. Great books I've read this year. I would say, so I started off the year reading Gottlieb. Is it Gottlieb? Gottlieb. But he did The Dream of Reason and The Dream of Enlightenment, which was like, so the Greek originals and then the Enlightenment philosophy. And honestly, like a lot of that went right over my head. But what I remember was like he gave funny accounts of the philosophers. Mira, no crees que esos güeyes eran muy inteligentes, ¿eh? They had a lot of ideas, pero su vida aparte de eso fue un desmadre. A lot of their life, their private life was a disaster. And anyways, I remember that funny stuff. So what happened was, ni lo entendía bien, so I got a kid's book. I got Big Ideas, Big Thinkers, Big Ideas. It's Dr. Kaye. That helped. That was really good. I read. So one of the more like surprising books that I read was Stephen King's On Writing. And Stephen King is like the most successful writers in the world, but he describes this process of him as a kid writing in little fiction stories to a magazine, trying to get published in a magazine, and the magazine would mail him back a rejection letter. And he had this clavón, puso un clavo on the wall, and he would put his rejection letters on this thing hasta que lo llenó y tuvo que ser un clavo más grande. So he would nail his rejection letters on the wall until he had to get a bigger nail so he could add more rejection letters on. All right, and then he goes into a very detailed process about how he first got his breakthrough with Carrie. And so he talks about it, you're getting his private life. Another funny thing is he wiped his butt with poison ivy as a kid. I remember that. That was hilarious. That was absolutely hysterical. He had like his older brother, and they're always getting into stuff. That was hilarious. Anyways, and so he had all these rejection letters, and then he had thrown his había tirado su draft in the trash, and his wife got it. Told him so se sigue. And then Carrie, his wife, pulled it out of the trash. It was like his breakthrough book, Carrie. And then after that, he kept going. But anyway, so that book was really good because you got this personal insight. And then the back end of the book, he gave you all this advice on writing, which was really, really functional. For someone doing a lot of writing, that helped out a lot. And then I read Carrie because he talked about the book a lot. Holy crap, that's the book. The other big one, surprise I read was Robert Sapolsky, A Primate's Memoir. And so Robert Sapolsky's he's a neuroscientist and a primatologist. So he studied baboons in Africa for a long time, and he's a specialist with the amygdala. One of your core brain components. Anyways, he describes this process of him going to Africa for the first time as a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, posting up in the bush, and then darting and learning these baboon tribes and figuring out their behavior and their conduct. But it was a perfect blend of like science and humor. His satire is phenomenal. Oh, and if you're going to read Robert Sapolsky, you should probably read Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. That's a great book on stress, and it's really readable. And then Behave is another really good book. I read that twice. I kind of get it, but that's like a really deep neuroscience book. Behave is really good. I think after that, what else? Ken Follett, The Pillars of Earth. That was good. I think William Hamley's like the most despicable character in literary history. I think that's what I got out of that one. What else did I read?
Chaz has been reading on his Instagram page too, everyone. So check out that.
Oh, that's right. I read The Mother Tree. So I read The Mother Tree. Oh, you know what else I read was this. I brought this. This is you. Diane, this was Diane's gift to me. This book.
Shout out.
In addition to this one's a phenomenal book as well. So this is the Judd Fine Art Plan, right? And this describes all the structures that are outside and their significance. But there's a really good description of the evolutionary process and the way they laid it out, the why they laid it out, and the great authors that they have quoted up there. But in the back end of that book, there's a statement in here that really stood out to me. And this is like a key why the library is so important. But it says, so the last paragraph of the book says, how do the disenfranchised make a demand? They do it through education. The role of the Free Public Library is basic to the breadth and diversity of American thought and ultimately action. Aside from the vote, it could be said that the public library as a principle is our nation's most important democratic institution, providing as it does equal accessible knowledge base for social and cultural understanding. And I read that and I thought that's absolutely brilliant. And I also thought, like, I've never had a thought half as profound as that. Like that's absolutely brilliant. And anyways, these were. Thank you, Diane, and appreciate that. I just finished The Beast, or the Tiger. I'm sorry, the Tiger, which is like a man-eating tiger, and it's like on the far out ends of East Russia. That was really good. You got a lot of some good hominoid history, like from Australopithecus to Homo erectus to habilis to Neanderthals to Homo sapiens, and then how tigers kind of have like an evolutionary dance with humans. It's very. There's some really cool stuff in there. What else did I read?
I don't know. I just love that Chaz gets so excited and he shares all this with his team, and then these guys are like, "Yeah."
The Malky Museum. So shout out to the Malky Museum. Malky Museum is in Banning, and they have a lot of really good information from the Coquila natives. So I read ethnobotany and then Temalpakh, Temalpakh, and that's kind of part of an agave craze I was on. I have these eye chefs in here. Look, so this is look, this is Agaves of Continental North America by Howard Scott Gentry.
Wow.
And this is this guy's just spent 2 decades in Mexico just tracking the agaves and figuring them out, organizing the species. And he's got a lot of native uses on it. This is Castetter, Bell, and Grove, a 1938 publication from the University of New Mexico, and ethnobiology studies. And they're looking at all the indigenous uses of agave in the Southwest, so Arizona, New Mexico. Very, very interesting. And then this is one. Mira, este es lindo, pero muy pasito. El maguey pulque en los códices mexicanos. So this is the agave in the old Mexican codices. So this is lo que grabaron los misionarios sobre los que edificaron to agaves and magueyes. Just a whole book on just that. It's all in Spanish, so I'm really slow reading it, but it's absolutely fascinating.
Octavio can read it for you. Yeah.
Chaz, can you talk a little bit about the agave sale that's gonna be on July 23rd?
Oh yeah, the agave sale. So we so we need to make those signs. Holy crap! So
National Agave Day.
National Agave Day is July 23rd, and the goal is, now that we said it, boy, it better happen. The goal is to go put some stuff up in center field, and to go to center field. And the idea is that it's an agave and a botanic plant label as a donation to LA Dodgers Foundation.
Okay.
And the LA Dodgers Foundation has been great in working with us with that. And I think long term, it's I think we'd like to sell enough plant labels and plant material to raise enough money to do like a Dodger garden as opposed to a dream field. We do a dream garden. And figure out how we incorporate that into the community. In addition to the field, so in addition to the millions of dollars, the millions of dollars they're pumping into the community with fields, kids play on that I go and I attend those things. I have people there. Very grateful for. I would love to see something like that. So that's a very long term scale, but also the idea is that if we're sharing plants that were born at the stadium that are super tough and drought tolerant and take little to no work.
Yeah. That's so
great.
cool. Yeah. We're just at the end of our time here. Do you have any final thoughts or
Kevin, ¿cómo ves? Ya se cansó.
Ya lo enfadamos.
Oh my God, Kevin's tired of us. Oh my God.
I'm not tired. I mean, fine. We'll make a 4-hour
We
program.
would go on forever.
We'll do a podcast. No, but I mean, well, first of all, very thankful for your participation. You've been just a great group of guys to work with, and we really appreciate all your time and effort because I know just how busy you all are. So making time for this library program, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts to the viewers?
The best. Well, first of all, thank you to you guys. We're really appreciate. One of the cool things that came of this was like meeting you guys and all the cool people you've introduced us to. And you guys are a cool team, and I just think, man, that is a cool thing to be doing with the library. Like, you just the entire idea of your department, right? Is like innovative creativity. It's like that's freaking phenomenal that you guys go out and get to do this. So we're really happy to have been to work with you, and que nos trajo panes también.
Como le dije, ya para la próxima otra vez los panes.
We really appreciated the monarca, the bread. That was really good.
Keep that on the down low.
So last thoughts. ¿Algo más que quieren decir antes de?
Pues decirle al público que no se les olvide apoyarnos.
Por tomarnos en cuenta.
Que vengan a los tours, pues. Que
Come to the tours. We'll be here waiting for you.
Tours, keep showing support, they're saying.
Y el 23 a comprar sus agaves ahí en el Centerfield. Ya del agave el 23.
And what's really great is all these guys got their library card.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
true.
Oh, we're packing. We're all packing. Absolutely.
Look at them. I love they're bringing them out.
Wow.
Here you go, Freddie. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. This was a lot. Yeah, for sure. It's a great thing you guys have done. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Wow. I love them.
They're the best. They are. I mean, take the tour. They are just a great group of guys. And yeah, take the tour. Give feedback. Send good feedback to them, please.
So thank you so much for joining us for today's LA Made program. And remember to check out the library's online calendar at lapl.org/events.
And please don't forget to check out our next LA Made program, which is going to be on Thursday, July 21st at 4 p.m., where we have a celebration of life program for the late Jonathan Gold.
On July 21st, 2018, Jonathan Gold, the LA Times Pulitzer Prize winning food critic, passed away, and the city of Los Angeles has never been quite the same. To commemorate his incredible life, we've asked several people who've been positively impacted by Jonathan to speak about their memories of him.
So speakers are going to include Jeanette Aganafor from Meals by Jeanette, Bricia Lopez from Guelaguetza, Javier Lopez, who's the editor-in-chief of LA Taco, Jazz from Jitladi Atai, and it will be hosted by the LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano. So we really hope you can make it. We think it's going to be a really special program.
So until next time, we truly appreciate all your support, and the success of LA Made and all of the library programs could not happen without viewers like you. So thank you. Mil gracias, Kevin. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, boss.